You know, after a sage disappears who had a large following, there is a big tendency to create a religion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And also to lose the direct transmission of the teaching and to replace it with a transmission of methods, rites, because rites are methods, right? Methods and rites. And one of the methods is who am I, who am I, who am I? But if it becomes some kind of a mantra, some kind of a practice, it has to be noticed also that Ramana himself, when you read the dialogue, his first choice of teaching was not
Oh, yes. Silence.
self-inquiry. No, okay, it was silence, but even if he would speak, the first teaching was the direct path. Realize that you are already this, right? You're already that. That was the direct path. Realize that you are already that.
Yes.
And it was only a second option, not the first option. The second option was, okay, if you then get it like this, then I have a tool for you, which is self-inquiry, right? So self-inquiry, as envisioned, is not even the direct path, right? And it's a method. It's some kind of a method. And then the problem is that when the guru is not there, the method can become mechanical.
Yes.
It loses its. When the teacher is alive, he says, well, asking who am I or what am I is not something which has to be repetitive, but it is something which has to be real. And by real, I mean we have to be interested in the answer, and we have, most importantly, be open to the possibility that we don't know the answer. Meaning that if I believe to be a person, to be a human being, if I ask, what am I? It doesn't make any sense. Because my question is not a real question.
Right. Yes.
My question is a real question only if I don't have the answer. I mean, that seems obvious to me, right? If I have the answer to the question, I don't have a question. Right? So, if I ask, what am I? For that to be a real question, in other words, for that to be a real investigation, the prerequisite is that I don't know what I am. And therefore, the prerequisite is at that moment, I don't know to be a human being, a man or a woman. I don't know to be a truth seeker. I don't know to be a devotee of Bhagavan. I don't know any of those. You know, I have put all of that between brackets. So, but that, of course, gets lost often after a sage passes away, and that's how religion are founded, and then it becomes kind of a prayer, what am I, what am I, what am I, or...
Yes.
Yes, the interrogation, the investigation has to be real and alive.
Yes. Yes. And the other component of that asking, who am I or what am I? When I ask that, it leads me directly to the only answer that I have is that I am awareness being. Everything else I can strip away, but when I get to that, just the I awareness am being, I can't go any further. So
this notion, going back, I mean, this interpretation that you have to ask that up until the world disappears.
good luck.
I mean, that would be a cosmic event, right? This disappearance, and we have to define what the world is. Good luck with that. You may wait for a long time, and you may your body may have disappeared before the world itself disappears, right? It's a kind of a preposterous thing to even.
It's preposterous. I love that. That's perfect.
To envision this, and it teaches you, I mean, if you go down that road, it teaches you how impractical this path is, because it's doomed to fail, right?
Yes, and that's where I get the sense that it's like, it's just caught in an infinite loop.
Because perhaps Bhagavan had said something along those lines, but he may have said, up until the world disappears as being different from you, you see?
Yes,
exactly. Up until only you remain.
Yes,
you see?
Yes, I do see. Or another way that I've tried to articulate it to this group is to say, when you realize that everything that appears is appearing in awareness.
Yeah.
The awareness that I am.
Exactly. Then everything is you. So there is no more a world existing independently and separately from you. And obviously that's what he meant. Obviously we know that. that. But people say that's not sufficient. They want a big event, a miracle, something impossible to happen, right?
Yes.
Because you could tell them, well, obviously, let's assume that has happened to Bhagavan, right? Obviously, there was life after this happening, right? Because the world kept existing, and Lakshmi is a cow, and Arunachal as a mountain, and all of that still was in existence. So his investigation into what am I, didn't make the world disappear. Actually, it disappeared just for the time of his realization when he was 17, when he had this glimpse. Yes, the world disappears, only to come back thereafter. It disappears, it vanishes into the glimpse, and the glimpse shows the reality of the world when the world reappears. But
and then the world reappears in a new light.
Yeah.
In a new light of understanding.
Exactly. But but the world doesn't really disappear.
It transforms. And I think the classic metaphor of the snake and the rope is so beautifully applicable here, because that once you know your identity as awareness, and that awareness is unlimited and universal, then the apparent threat of an illusory separate snake is gone. And then at that point, you can see the rope as a rope, and you don't have to kill the rope.
Exactly.
You don't have to get rid of the rope. In fact, the rope or the world is useful.
Exactly.
You can use a rope. You don't have to get rid of it.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And regarding the second part of your question, in other words, how people receive what you may tell them in your understanding, it reminds me something that happened. I was with a close student of Jean, and I was saying things along the line of what you just said, and it was based upon my experience. And what surprised me is that this person all of a sudden kind of got almost angry at me and said, "You'll be allowed to say that once you're realized." And at that moment, because I thought, this man was a young man, was very devoted to the teaching, and he was very, very, and that surprised me so much, because I could feel also a sense of, shall I say, competition, and that he said, "Oh, I cannot speak that way, therefore he cannot speak that way." You see, that's not my experience, therefore he cannot, only Jean Klein can speak that way. You see?
Yes, yes.
And and then that taught me a lesson, because the beauty in science is that the scientific truth doesn't belong to anybody in particular. It's up in the open, right? It's up for grabs for everybody. You see?
2 + 2 = 4 belongs to everyone.
It's so impersonal that the moment you have understood a mathematical idea or a branch of physics, it's yours. You see? It's so, it belongs to everybody. And this truth we're talking about, it's exactly the same. It is not the prerogative of some. No, it's up for grabs for all. It's like the truth of whatever, of mathematics, or of general relativity. Perhaps it requires, learning a little bit of mathematics or a lot of mathematics to understand it. But then, if you make the effort, it's yours. And so I'm very, very cautious every time I see a teacher who says, "Okay, I had the glimpse and you didn't, or I am the teacher." And no matter how spiritual and true what they say is, and I may like it, I may like what some teachers of the past have said, but if in their teaching I felt this distance between them and the students, you see, I always had some allergy to it because of this scientific background of mine that the truth is the same for all.